Oh, hello and welcome, FPL managers, and welcome to Ghana Football Fantasy. And of course, we are back after the international break and back for the zonal weakness for Game Week 5. And today, my co-host, all the way from the United States, it's FPL Wrangler from the FPL Radar Group. Welcome, bye.
Hi Nadim, good. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Uh, Definitely good. And FPL is coming back after the first international break, right? So looking forward to it. And thank you very much for having me on this show.
Yeah, right. No, glad to have you, and of course, we are glad to collaborate with you guys as well. And of course, people, if you are not following FPL Radar, please do give them a follow. And of course, thank you so much for all the support. And yeah, this is going to be. I mean, we are back again, of course, after what you call it, the international break. And I hope you had a good international break. So let's get straight into the show for the zonal weakness. And this is it for this week. What we're going to do is we're going to focus straight away in the zonal, and of course we're going to talk about the transfers, but also the team of the week. But before we do all that, please do give us a follow on Twitter, but also a like on Facebook if possible, and of course subscribe to our YouTube channel, because that's where we are doing the live and the recordings of the zonal weakness, and we'll be doing it throughout with FPL Radar, and of course with Bethany from the UK. So please do subscribe, and of course hit the bell notification so that you get all the notifications as and when we kind of release the zonal weakness. And before we move into the show, a shout out to Fantasy Football Scout, because all the data from the zonal comes from Fantasy Football Scout. There's currently a 30% discount ongoing. So this is an ideal time to actually subscribe and get the membership. And if you're interested, click on the link on the description section on YouTube and you will be able to get 30% discount. So yeah, do not hesitate, because there is plenty of data that you can analyze and you can be a part of the membership. And of course, to be better at FPL, just subscribe and be a member of Fantasy Football Scout. Right. FPL Wrangler, it's this is the zonal how it looks like for this week. So what do you think? What pops out really? And I can see a lot of white over there on top, but still, what do you think?
Yeah. So as you mentioned, right, that white is popping out at the very top, right, and that's versus Sheffield United. And Spurs are playing versus Sheffield United in game week 5. So as you can see, right, Sheffield United have been conceding chances from here and there, especially like from all zones, right flank, center, left flank, right. They are ranked number one in terms of conceding chances, and also they have been conceding chances from head as well. That's their like number one rank as well. So I think it's a very good matchup for the Spurs boys. So I think the return can come from anywhere. You cannot really guess from where it's coming because, as you mentioned, right, they are really leaky in all the positions. My personal view on this game is United is gonna probably play low block, so which means a lot of shots from outside of the box, right? Which may help Madison, and there might be a lot of set pieces there too. And again, Madison will be there, for taking the set pieces. And Romero already scored 2 goals, and also as we see here, like Sheffield United conceding a lot of goals from head. So Romero could be a good punt for 1 week if you think. But I think again, Son had hat trick last game week, right? So he's the like most talking point probably in this game week, and we'll talk about him probably more whenever we go to the like team, right, the best 11 in terms of zonal. But I think, yeah, if you have our suggestion or my suggestion would be like, if you have to do one transfer in this game week, it would be probably one of these Spurs boys, whoever you pick. You do based on your team. But I think nothing, no other players probably stand out, like from other teams. Either you hold or whatever you do, but probably not a buy. Like Spurs. So that's Spurs. And then City, right? City also, you see like all
Yeah.
of them. It's white, right? And it seems good match on pen and paper, and like anything is a good match for City, to be honest, right? They're so elite. But again, West Ham, they did win in big 2 games, I would say, one against Chelsea and another against Brighton. So and again, they are playing low block, and their defense actually try to be compact, at least in the center. But again, they considered goals, right? They scored mostly from counter attacks, right? So City might concede, but again, in terms of attacking, I think their assets are really very good. Now, one thing is that Alvarez in the center, definitely he could get return, but we are not sure if Alvarez is going to start really in game week 5. He is playing in Bolivia, right? So it is a
Yeah,
tough.
he played. I think no, he finished already that, but I think the return flight is a bit delayed. I think.
Right. So there is a kind of a, like, you have to, usually we get leak for Man City game usually, because there's the second, like, I think the early kickoff. I don't know who is that, but City is playing next, so you might get some sort of leak, you know. But if he plays, definitely it's a very good option. If he doesn't, then I think Foden is gonna play in his role. So in that case, I think Grealish probably in the left, right? So there
Yeah,
could some sort of, like, tweaking, but again, the idea is that any players from City would be good. So if you have them, just hold them. That would be the one thing. Um, and then Salah, right? Salah is Salah. I mean, a lot of people didn't take him, but again, he performed. He got return, I think, in all the games, right? And Wolves is considering too in terms of XGC. They are considering, and also in the left flank, as you see, right? They are ranked fifth, where basically Salah plays. So that helps for Salah as well as Trent as well, right? Whether you buy him or not, that's a different thing. But if you're on a wild card, I think you can probably go for him, because people are thinking, oh, you know what, Liverpool's fixture is turning around like in game week 9. Before that, actually, it's not too bad, to be honest. So I mean, if you're on wild card, I think you should pick one of the Liverpool boys, either it's Salah or Diaz, whoever you think. Darwin did really good too. Looks like he's sticking along, but the thing is whether he's going to be nailed or not, we have to see. But I think he's a good shout too.
yeah. I think Darwin has a bit of an injury issue, and I think he was substituted at the last match.
Okay.
I think it's something to do with his muscle because he had some muscular issues. That's what I read on Twitter, at least. Bielsa kind of subbed him after halftime. So, yeah, but that's the only concern. But again, I wouldn't say like count on this information and then don't take Darwin. What I would suggest is rather watch the press conference and then maybe then after that you can focus on it. Right.
Right.
So what about Chelsea and Bournemouth?
So that's again very good matchup. Bournemouth is third in terms of chances considered in the right flank, which really helps Chilwell, right? Chilwell was really unlucky, or Chilwell owners actually probably even more unlucky, right? Who have been
Yeah.
winning Chilwell. He could have had lots of returns. The whole Chelsea team, to be honest, like Sterling, Jackson, they actually underperformed significantly, right? So like for me, I have been owning Jackson from game week 1. You can imagine like how frustrated I have been. But again, I
Well, I'm
mean,
I'm on the same boat. I'm on
okay.
the same boat.
Okay, at least I got someone with me, so okay. But yeah, I think Chilwell, Sterling, and Jackson, definitely they kind of didn't or couldn't like convert their chances, especially in the last game. But the underlying data is there and the matchup is there too. So I think Bournemouth game could be another good game. Although it's a away game, but I think they should score. They should score, and also again they are considering chances or like from header as well. And
Yeah.
again, whoever in the, like, Disasi or Colwell, and again Chilwell will be the set piece taker maybe, right? So that again you see in the white, right? So that helps. So I think one of the dilemma people had, like, previous game week, like Starling versus Madison. So yeah, I mean, definitely Madison owner, like, gain in the previous game week, but I think in next few game weeks it might even out. We'll see between Starling and Madison. But Bournemouth game is a good game for Chelsea. So
Yeah, so there's a lot of people thinking of moving away from Manchester United assets because of Manchester United not really being able to score that many goals. I mean, not that their stats is bad, but what I'm saying is there are a lot of people who are moving away from it because they're not scoring too many goals. Brighton, on the other hand, are just scoring for fun. So, and they're playing with each other. So, what do you think about this match?
I think, like I mentioned in the Twitter as well, that if Man United can justify the chances that they get, then it's gonna be a goal getter. This game will be like full of goals probably, or it might be 0-0. Who knows? Because we saw that in the previous year, like FA Cup as well. So basically, like I expect a lot of goals in this game. To be honest, Man United, as you said, right? We had lots of injuries. By the way, I'm a Man United fan, like you. So
So am I.
yeah, so we had lots of injuries recently, and also like Varane is not there, and also like Mount is not fit yet. Anthony has some issues, so we don't know yet how the team will look like. But in general, again, Rasmus Højlund is coming back, which is a plus, and I hope Bruno Fernandes, he actually had 1 goal and 3 assists, right, in the international break. So he actually really need a good scorer, and I hope Højlund is that person. And yeah, you are saying that people are like selling, and I think if you sell only for Son, maybe because Son was the person who got hat trick last game week. Otherwise, I think at least to me, they are whole. Brighton attacking wise, it's a good game. Defensive wise, it's not, but attacking wise, I think it's a good game because they are conceding chances here and there. So I think it's gonna be a good goal getter game, in my opinion.
And I agree with you, to be honest. I agree with you that this might be a goal galore, in a sense that, if Manchester United is able to actually exploit the space that's left behind because there is a high line that is played by Brighton. So I think, yeah, that would allow Rashford, especially who's being sold quite a lot by quite a number of managers. So I think this might be just a game where Rashford and, even Hoyland with his space might be able to exploit. Bruno Fernandes is also expected to actually have a good game. At least my understanding is that if Amrabat is there, then Amrabat and Casemiro would probably provide the double pivot and allow Bruno to advance a bit more forward. But anyway,
We'll
um,
see. There is also like some sort of say discussion going on that he might be playing in the right as well, right? So for example, if
yeah, yeah,
if
yeah,
Ericsson plays in number 10 role, he might play in the right. But although we want him to play in the number 10 so that Pelistri or I don't know Sancho probably can play in right. So we'll see. That's
yeah.
one part.
Uh,
Yeah.
I
So
don't want to get into the Sancho discussion, but anyway,
right. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So what about Newcastle and then what you call it, Brentford?
Brentford game, right? So that's another interesting game. So both of their attack looked good in first game week, and both of their defense looked good too. I mean, they considered silly chances, and those like Newcastle chance that they considered against Brighton, it was like one was like Pope's mistake, right? And and another like basically like goal from the outside of the boxes, which doesn't happen to be honest like very often, right? So mm, underlying wise, both of the teams actually were attackingly good and the defensively good too. So this is gonna be a good battle, I think. Visa you see here, like that's in like kind of stand out in terms of zonal because like they were considering chances like in the second in the center Newcastle, right? And
Yeah.
that could be a position too because I think Botman is I don't know if he was injured before the international break, so I don't know whether he's gonna be fit for the next game, and if he doesn't come back, then it's gonna be something some place to for like Brentford to exploit. But I think it's gonna be a good game. I look forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty a good game, I think. Okay, let's go to the last slide for the zonal, and then we go to the team of the week and also the transfer for this week. The suggestion that we'll make. What pops out really from this chart?
We already talked about Brentford. So yeah, Villa and Crystal Palace is another game, right? Crystal Palace, their defense looked good, but their offensive data didn't really look good, or probably they were kind of unlucky because they could have got some penalties which didn't come out, and that could have changed in terms of chances considered, right? Center or whatever you call it. But I think it's gonna be another interesting game because Villa also looked good offensively, but they were really not good probably in defensively. So we'll see how it comes along. Gonna be an interesting game, especially like Luka Dean. He was the very good chance creator, and as you can see, right, that Palace is conceding crosses from the right flank. So I think that could be a good um, option. And also, like again, if you are on wildcard, Aston Villa assets could be like you should probably pick one of them from now. That's my suggestion because again, their fixture terms pretty good very soon. So for the wildcarders, I think probably you should probably pick one of the Villa boys.
Who would you go with? Dini or Cash or Diaby or Watkins?
Probably Diaby. But the problem with Diaby is like, well, it's hard to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not on wildcard, to be honest, so I didn't give a clear thought. But we have lots of option in the midfield, so that's the problem with Diaby. So yeah, let me probably is one of the defenders. Let me take it back.
Yeah, no, it's
Probably,
okay.
yeah,
I mean, Diaby is a good shout, to be honest.
yeah,
I think Diaby is a very good shout. I think he's still under the radar. I think he's
right,
still under the radar. So yeah, probably people should just. I don't know. Midfield is crowded, so I'm not
right.
going to make a very strong case
But
for
yeah,
it.
I
But
think one of the defenders should be taken. Luka Dean or Cash, whoever it is, especially Cash.
mm,
Like he was really attacking
yeah,
a lot. So
yeah,
yep.
right.
And yeah,
Okay.
and the last one is Ione, right?
Yeah,
So Nottingham Forest, yeah, they were playing counter-attacking football, and they also like gave hard time, right, to the bigger teams. And now they are playing against Burnley. So I think this will be the game. Like these are the games like both teams want to win, right? Because it's kind of a relegation battle as well, right? Because if you win against these teams, then you kind of go up in the race, right, for the to avoid the relegation. So yeah, I think it's gonna be an entertaining game, and Burnley will probably not sit down, right? So they will try to attack, and which might like Elanga or even like Ionic might be able to exploit that
right.
opportunities. I think so.
Right. Okay. So let's go into the transfer. And for this week, we just have only one transfer suggestions, and of course, it's Hun Min Son. So, what do you think about Hun Min Son as a transfer for this week?
I think it's a very good shout. Again, people might think that it's kind of like recency bias. It is not. I mean, some sort of definitely like he played his. I mean, he's an elite finisher, right? And he, as you mentioned at the very beginning, that Richarlison had some issue in the so mental health. He sought some help. So I think until those are sorted out, probably Son is going to play in the central. And if he plays in the central, he's an elite finisher. We also mentioned in our podcast that historically he was always an overperformer. He was such an elite finisher, right? And if he plays in front of the goal, you should get him because they also got players who can like give the ball to him like Madison, right? Or
Yeah.
even like Kulusevski. So he's a very good shout. I don't know if Sheffield United is a very good matchup for him, as I mentioned, right? They're going to play low block, but again, goals can come from anywhere. But Arsenal and Liverpool is a very good game for him, usually, right? They play high line, and that's really a very good play. Like that's where actually Son performed very well. So I think he is the well. I think if you don't have Madison, then something different. But I think Son is a very good shout, and I think yeah, especially if you're on wildcard, you should get Son.
Yeah, just for the viewers, Luton has only played 3 games, so only 3 games data is taken into account here. And if you look at it, it's interesting that Luton has a much better rank than Liverpool and Arsenal. Although Luton is actually conceding a lot of chances, it's just that in the center they are conceding less chances, but from the side, from the right zone and from the left zone, they're considering a lot of chances. But the thing is, because they have played 3 game mix data, so only 3 game mix data is taken into consideration. So that's why it looks a little bit weird that, how is Luton's performance a little bit more better than Liverpool and Arsenal. But yeah, that's the caveat that I just wanted to make sure. Okay, so let's go into the last section, which is team of the week, and then we kind of finish it. So, what pops out really for you in the team of the week, by?
I think this team looks like makes sense to me. It looks perfect in terms of like zonal and also like the fixture triple up Spurs. Why not? We just talked about it, right? And it can the return can come from anywhere. So again, if you're on wildcard, I think you should probably go like triple Spurs. As I mentioned about the City boys, right? That Alvarez Foden situation, but usually we get leak, so I would say like you can try to hold your transfer as much as you can. But I mean, I think this makes sense. If we don't know the leaks, I think these are the three players to own. So this is perfect. And otherwise, like Chilwell and Sterling, definitely like their fixture in next few weeks also very good, right? So they just couldn't like perform as they expected, but I think underlyings are there. So it's just like a matter of time when they're gonna get the returns. And I think Estupiñán and Salah, we talked about them too, right? So this team look actually very good to me. especially zonal. Now, if you bring the MBMO discussion, this is a different thing. But for this particular game week, probably not. So I think this game week, this is perfect.
Right. Well, that's all for this week, then, audience and viewers. Thank you so much for tuning in. And of course, thank you so much, FPL Wrangler, for joining us to discuss the zonal weakness for this week. And of course, do give us a follow and do give FPL Radar and, of course, FPL Wrangler a follow. But until then, that's all. And of course, the thread will be out very soon. So, yeah, take care. See you and thank you so much. Bye
Thank
bye.
you.